Ah, good girls. Hey there YouTube, it's Patricia with through-these-eyes.com, and today I thought I would show you how I prepare tamales. It's Christmas time and it's my family tradition that every year I make tamales. So let's see, this is a very long and arduous process, so I'm going to just try to condense what is a 8-hour project into a less than a 15-minute video. Wish me luck. I started at about 6 o'clock this morning cutting up and putting to boil about 6 pounds or so of pork shoulder. This has been going now for about 2.5 hours. And in the pot I have, this was a bone-in pork shoulder, so I had to cut it up into chunks, and there is a whole onion in there, 4 cloves of garlic, 2 bay leaves, lots of salt, pepper, and cumin. And yeah, that's in enough water to cover the entire roast, and it's cooking away. So it still has at least another half hour to go. Meanwhile, I have had soaking also for about 2 hours now, corn husks. Corn husks are what is used to wrap a tamale. It's what they will steam in case you didn't know, tamales are steamed. That's how they cook. So corn husks are packaged dry, and you need to soak them for at least 2 hours. Some people do it less, but the longer you soak them, the softer they get and the easier they are to work with. But every now and then I just come around this this thing, by the way. This is called a molcajete. I'll just show that to you real quick here. This is not something that you see very often. In Spanish, it is called a molcajete. In English, it would be a mortar and pestle. But it's used to grind up seasonings and stuff. But it also makes a great weight to weigh down these corn husks. So let me turn them around a little bit. And in we go. Anyway, I've been doing that. There's my Heidi dog, patiently waiting for me to drop something. What I'm about to start doing is making the chili sauce for the meat when it's done. I will be using New Mexico chili pods, and these are called chile negro, which means black chili pods. And I'm going to be using the entire package of this and perhaps half the package of this, along with an onion diced, about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, salt and pepper to taste, some cumin. But my secret ingredients today are going to be Skippy peanut butter, and one of my favorite things when I was a child is Ibarra chocolate. Now this is traditional Mexican chocolate. It's used, as you can see on there, to make hot chocolate. But it can also be used in cooking. And let me show this to you. They come in little packages like this. And this is what it looks like. Now this isn't your traditional Hershey's chocolate. This is super hard. And you can't just sit here like, you know, can you see I'm trying to scratch it? And you get like very little off of there. So anyway, it's absolutely delicious. But I'll be adding the chocolate and the peanut butter later in the recipe. But first I'm going to set these to boil, and they'll need to boil for about 20 minutes. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, my pork has actually been cooking for closer to 4 hours. And as you can see, it is just absolutely tender. It is falling off the bone, tender, fork tender. So I am going to keep removing this and putting it in my pot, which is, I don't think, big enough. But anyway, what's super important is once you take out all the meat and you put it away, you need to save the stock. This is what's going to be used to make our masa. So we need to keep that. And I'm going to continue messing with this because it's super hard to do one-handed. And yeah, oops, I'll be right back. All right, it is time to make the chili sauce. So we've had our chilies in there boiling away nicely, and here's all our pork. And right now I'm going to be making the chili. Alright, I've added about half the chili and the onion and garlic into my blender. I'm going to blend that first. This takes a long time because, again, you have to do it kind of in batches, and it's really hard to get it to completely, it's got to be like creamy, looking like tomato paste, kind of creamy. So, okay, I am done making the salsa. Again, this is the 2 different kinds of chilies, some onion, garlic, salt, cumin, a little garlic powder, and a tablespoon of peanut butter, and a whole circle of chocolate. It is creamy smooth, and I'm going to set this aside and get ready to mix it in with my meat. So I thought this is a good break. My hands are clean, so I can show you some of the things that are very key to going into making good traditional Mexican tamales. With the health food craze and everything, everybody wants to use, olive oil or canola oil, corn oil, whatever. I use good old-fashioned lard, okay? Manteca. Manteca is a must if you want really delicious, flavorful tamales. It is not the healthiest thing, but you know what? I grew up on this stuff, and no one in my family has died from a heart attack. So manteca is a must. The other things that you must have is a big bowl to make your masa. Oh, masa. Actually, let me show that to you. Remember I said I was making 20 pounds of masa? Here it is. Vallarta's makes their own tortillas, so they have a lot of the masa and the dough that you'll need. You can buy it prepared, which is great. It has already salt and the oil or whatever they use, everything added to it. So really, this whole entire step that I'm about to start doing, except for making the meat, would be unnecessary if I bought the masa that was already prepared. I buy it sin preparar, which means without being prepared. This is just basically a specific type of cornmeal. So to this, I need to add my fat, my salt, and moisture. You can use water, but this is why you reserve the pork stock, because you want the flavor of the meat into your cornmeal. So this is a lot of masa. Because of that, you need a big bowl. And when I say a big bowl, I don't mean, big bowl. I mean, a big bowl. This here is the traditional masa making kneading bowl. So we're going to use this bowl, and I'm going to make this in 2 batches. So I'm going to use about 10 pounds in here, and then reserve the other 10 for a second batch. Once I'm done with the masa and I've made all of the tamales, they have to go in a steaming pot. Here's my tamale pot. This is what they look like. You just pull this up, put water in the bottom. The tamales will be lined up in here, all the way up to the top. And then it will go on the stove. I did want to show you this one other thing. This is basically a roasting pan, but I'm going to be using it on my stove, and this is what I'm going to prepare the meat in with its sauce. So these are my parts. I'm going to get started because the longer I talk to you, the longer it's going to take me to make up. So see you in a bit. Okay, before we mix the meat with the chili, we need to take some lard, oops, and we're going to fry up our chili just a little bit. Okay, now here's the salsa, and that's what it came out with. This is the total batch. This is 2 batches combined, so it makes about 1 big pitcher. And I'm going to slowly add Oh my goodness, it smells so yummy. I'm going to slowly add this in. Kind of hard to do one-handed, y'all, but that's all right. Okay, so really, again, everything here is cooked. So what you're doing is adding some fat back in, adding some flavor. Kind of, you can't really say you're roasting the chilies because they've already been boiled and cooked and everything. But you are heating the chili up through in the fat. All right, now that I have it all in, I'm going to turn it up just a little bit. And you can see see how it's kind of watery there? That's the lard, and so we just want to make sure that we are mixing it well in so that it soaks up all the goodness. And then once it's nice and heated through, we're going to add our meat. Looks like all of the fat has been absorbed into the spice, and we're going to add our pulled pork. This is why you need a big pan. This is about half the meat. Let me get the other half here. Okay. I'm just going to stir this up, try to incorporate all of the salsa in with this meat. And so anyway, I'm going to keep stirring this, but I need 2 hands or this is going all over the place. So I'll be back when it's done. Okay, here we go. I have put about 3 of these big serving spoons of lard in the pot, and it's on very, very low heat because you don't want this super hot because you're going to have to put your hands in it or it's going to be put into the masa. Okay, and now the most important part, the masar. I am going to start by making a little nest, that's what my grandma calls it. So it's making a little hole in the center, and you're going to use some sugar, use some salt. Now, don't be afraid of the amount of salt that I have in my hand. Again, this is 10 pounds, and I'm probably going to add more salt. And then right in the center, I'm going to pour in some of our lard, some of our fat. But anyway, here's where it gets messy. Both hands into the masa. And we're going to start to incorporate that. This is the hardest part. Once I've incorporated that, I'm also going to add in about a cup of our beef broth. Okay. Again, you're going to make a little hole. So anyway, again, this should be like a very creamy oatmeal consistency. I've heard it referred to as kind of almost a smooth polenta type consistency. Again, you want it smooth enough to, and every now and then, see, I found these little balls of masa that I need to squish. And it's fun, you just run it through your fingers like this. And then once that's nicely mixed in, I will begin the spreading process. Here's the fun part, getting it off your hands. It's not sticky, it's just Yummy. Okay, now comes the fun part. This is also pretty time consuming. Well, pretty much anything having to do with tamales is time consuming, but here we go. Remember we soaked all these in water, warm water for hours. They're nice and soft now, pretty bendy. One side is a little smoother, the other side's a little rougher, so we're going to use the smooth end. And we're going to place a big glob. And let's see, we're just going to spread the masa. You want it about 1/4 of an inch thick, roughly. And we're covering about 2/3 of the corn husk. Okay, these are nice big corn husks. I got these from Vallarta. Yeah, I know. Okay. And then once that's done, I use my fingers. You can use a tablespoon, but you're going to get a nice chunk of meat and you're just going to put it in the center. You don't want it all the way down to the bottom nor all the way up to the top. That's our filling. We're going to put one flap over, the other flap on top of that, and then just fold the top. And we get a nice fat tamale. Now the fastest way or the easiest way is to just do all of your spreading first. Just put them all in there. Once they're all done and spread, then you fill them, roll them, and stack them. That makes it a lot easier, a lot faster, but I just wanted to kind of show you the entire process. So I'm going to start with this, and I'm just going to keep on going. Okay, like I said, I finished the first, I filled my first tray. I still have a little bit of masa and meat left, some corn husks. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put these into my tamale pot. Now, there's several different ways to stack them. You can actually stack them similar to how I have them here, all standing up on end, just around in a circle and putting them in towards the middle. And that works perfectly fine. It keeps all of the juices and masa and stuff inside the tamale, which is fine. However, I'm going to do it the way my family has always done it. And I'm going to show a little bit of my superstition here by saying first, Jesus Maria Jose, which is a short little prayer that everything turns out well. And now here's a little interesting superstition. My grandmother always believed, and I guess her mother before her would always say, the person who puts the tamales into the pot, like I'm doing now, once the tamales are in the pot, the person cannot go outside until the tamales are all done. Now, I remember hearing that and going like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But the superstition is that if you go outside while the tamales are still cooking, they won't cook all the way. They'll be spotted, little spots of raw masa. And I'm like, really, I just figured, well, okay, old wives' tale. But my mom felt the same way. She's like, oh, it's just, an old wives' tale. She went out one day, forgot, when this pot's done, you want to dump out all the water and stuff. And she went outside and tossed it while it was a second batch on the stove. And sure enough, same amount of time, the second batch had little white spots, little patches of rawness. So now my mom will not go outside while the tamales are cooking. And I figured, well, that's just silly. But it's happened to me, I swear it. So now, I too, once I place these in here and start to cook, I am stuck in the house for 3 hours. But I don't mind. Where else am I going to go, right? Well, I guess that means no checking the mail, no leaving the house on an errand. That's it. Anyway, if you can see, I'm stacking these up like you would lay bricks. Okay, they're just kind of going all the way around in a circle. And I only do one ring. You can do, you know, a second ring here if you wanted to. I don't know, maybe I'll... Yeah, no, see, I don't like doing that. So anyway, this is going to make a nice big batch. We're going to put these all the way up to the top. Now I have this on a chair so that I can easily look down and see what's going on. But the fun part comes to lift the pot. Well, actually this is a small pot, so it won't be too hard. But when you get the big pots, you got to lift it up onto the stove. Let's see. Can fit a couple more. Okay, that's about it. I'm going to fill that to that level. And so yeah, the tamales are nice and stacked, kind of like you would lay bricks. Again, you can stand them up on end like they were like this all the way around. But yeah, I grew up doing them this way, so that's how I prefer. I'm going to add some water into the center of this pot, put it on the stove, and get to cooking. Okay, it's been 3.5 hours, and I'm going to take out first tamale to check to make sure that it has cooked. Let's see here. It's very hot. Take this fat one off the top. There they are. Yum. Okay. Take that over here. Alright, I need to let it cool off, but you should be able to start opening these up and it should just peel away. Okay, I'm going to let it sit for a minute and cool off so that it can set. But it looks like it's coming away from the corn husk nice and easy. So, be right back. Alright, so I've cut into the tamale. It came off the corn husk pretty easy. But I think it still needs a little more time. The part that's really close to the meat still seems a little bit tender, so I'm going to give it at least another half hour before I take out another one. Meanwhile, though, I'll have to suffer and eat this one. Alright, so here is a tamale. They have now been cooking for about 4 hours. They were kind of fat, so anyway, we let them cool for a little bit. And you know they are done when they can easily come right off the corn husk. Trying to do this one-handed. Yep. Delicious, delicious. Now the longer you let them cool, the nicer they'll set up. So, but I just want to cut into that so that you can see the delicious tamale. Yum. Alright everybody, Merry Christmas. Hope you guys get to enjoy whatever your favorite delicious Christmas meal is. I know we will be enjoying tamales with rice and beans. Yay! Merry Christmas everybody. Bye.